ready to go. The idea of the song is Billie Jean by Michael Jackson off the incredible selling Thriller album. So I use this song a lot with students as what I call a bass breaker exercise because it is a repetitive eighth note pattern using really just 4 notes and then shifting patterns and then a little pre-chorus for a break. So it's really a stamina exercise to see how relaxed you can get when you play. And if you can play through the entire 5-minute duration of the song without cramping and getting tired. So we're going to talk a little bit about technique, a little bit about the patterns, and then we'll get down to some play-along exercises at slow tempos and faster tempos. All right, so the main riff to the song, we're going to base it around the middle 2 strings, the A string, which is the 3rd string from the ground, and the D string, which is the 2nd string from the ground. On both of those strings, we'll play 2 notes. So it'll be at fret 2 and fret 4 on both strings. And that's the exercise to start with, is get a feel for the 2nd fret and the 4th fret of the middle 2 strings. On the A string, that is a B note and a C sharp note. And on the D string, that is an E note and an F sharp note. Later on, we'll bring in 2 additional notes, which will be on string 1, which will be the A note at the 2nd fret and the B note at the 4th fret. First, get comfortable walking that pattern, whether you just ascend or ascend and descend. Things to focus on are, first, I'm playing in what's called the groove range, where I can stay nice and relaxed. So I'm using the 1st finger on fret 2 and the pinky with a little assistance maybe from the ring finger on fret 4. This lets me keep my hand in a nice relaxed position. I don't have to stretch the ring finger to reach up, if you can see that strain in my hand right there. So naturally my ring finger would probably reach about here. So the pinky just adds a little extra length to it. Next thing to look for when playing this is avoid what's called flyaway fingers. Flyaway fingers are when you remove your fingers really far when they're not being used. Believe it or not, this takes a lot more energy to do. It's a natural instinct for a lot of people, but it takes a lot of energy versus keeping it close, keeping it relaxed, keeping it cool. And when you relax, you actually want to relax first off from your mind, but through your neck, your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, your hand, into your fingers. If you stay relaxed, you can play for a lot longer. Especially check this technique once you build up some muscle memory. Another thing to think about is with that relaxed movement is my wrist position, right? It's not up like this. I'm using the thumb back here to support. I got a lot of space here between my hand and the neck, because if I put my hand up on the neck just like this, my hand might be a little bit cramped. See how that kind of limits my mobility, but by relaxing the wrist and moving the thumb back here, I get a lot more reach and a lot more comfort. Even if it doesn't feel natural at first, focus on that technique. All right, now let's talk about the pattern. So that main pattern is actually going to start with the F sharp at the 4th fret of string 2. And I'm going to then roll it over to the 4th fret of string 3, which is a C sharp note. And when I do that, I can either use the pinky on the fretting hand to rock. Sometimes you might see me do pinky to ring. Just depends on how I'm feeling it within the song. It's good to try it both ways. The other technique I'll use is with the right hand, I'll do a drag when I'm playing the D string to the A string. I'll use one finger efficiently to play through both strings. Okay. So follow up in that sequence, we got F sharp, C sharp, then we're going to ascend to the E, F sharp, E. So that's the 2nd fret, 4th fret, and 2nd fret of string 2. Then I'm going to do kind of the opposite pattern on the A string, which would be 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret, or the C sharp, B, C sharp. So F sharp, C sharp, E, F sharp, E, C sharp, B, C sharp. Right, and get comfortable with that sequence of notes first before we move on. So if you need to pause it and just kind of practice up that sequence of notes, do it. The alternate pattern for this that pops up in the verse and the chorus is that same pattern, but you move it one grouping of strings towards the ground. That's where we're going to bring in this A and B note in. So play quite literally the same pattern, but I'm going to take out a beat in here in just a second. So get comfortable with that sequence. And then we're going to take out a note. So when I play through that pattern, I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 4 and. So I'm playing the B to the F sharp to the A, and then when I get back to the B, I'm going to put in a rest and then descend. A, F sharp, E, 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and. The only other part in the song would be the pre-chorus, or the only other riff would be the pre-chorus, where I'm going to start on a D note. I can either use the 2nd string open for D, 2nd string from the ground, or you'll probably see me use the 5th fret of the A string or the 3rd string from the ground. Same note. So I'm going to play that D note, then I'm going to play an E to an F sharp. The F sharp is going to be the start of the next measure. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And just a reminder, E is at the 2nd fret of string 2, F sharp is at the 4th fret. It was in the previous riff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Practice that up. Then we're going to add in some syncopation off of this F sharp. So I'm going to play the lower octave F sharp, which would be 2 frets towards the headstock and 2 strings towards the ceiling. 2nd fret of the E string or the 4th string or the string closest to the ceiling. So I'm going to play this on the and of 2. So it'd be like 1, 2, and. Then I'll play the open A string or the 3rd string from the ground on the next and after 3. And then I'll play the C sharp at the 4th. I'll play the C sharp at the 4th fret of the A string for the next and beat after beat 4. So it's and, F sharp, A, C sharp, which will carry me back up to the D note. So altogether, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and. And that last part was just the D, 2, 3, 4, D, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp. Then I'm back into the main riff. All right, so we'll do some play-alongs. Now, when we play the main riff, the intro plays that main riff, I don't know, like 24 times before it deviates. But once he starts singing, the verses and the chorus will follow a 12-bar pattern where we play the main riff on the middle 2 strings 4 times. Then we'll move it towards the ground for 2 times. Back to the main riff 2 times. Back towards the ground 2 times. And then back to the middle 2 strings 2 more times. So that'll give us our 12 bars. And that might repeat that pattern before it goes to the pre-chorus, but use your ears when you listen and play along to the song. I want to say the song is about 120 beats per minute. So we will start it off 3/4 speed, which would be about 90 beats per minute. 1, 2, main riff 4 times. Last time. Move it to the ground. 2nd time. Back towards the ceiling. Back towards the ground. In the middle. chorus, D, and 1, 2, and 1. Repeat, play it 3 times. Here's the third time I'm playing this pattern. And the turnaround, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and back to the main rhythm. Fourth time, move it by a fourth. Towards the ground. Middle 2 strings. Okay, and that's our play along at about 90. Again, the goal is you could do the YouTube trick where you play along to the song and slow it down to 75% speed, which would be probably right about that tempo. 120 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Second time. Third time. Fourth time. Towards the ground. I did that a little different. Towards the ground. Middle strings. I'll repeat this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, towards the ground. Middle strings. Pre-chorus. Now there's some alternate ways you could play with this pattern. If you're not comfortable moving a grouping of strings towards the ground, or you are and you're looking for an additional challenge, stay on the middle 2 strings, and instead of playing frets 2 to 4, play frets 7 to 9. That'll give you your next movement. Or you can even play the main pattern on the lowest 2 strings, the ones closest to the ceiling, between frets 7 and 9. I kind of like the tone a little better there, but first it's about feel in an exercise, and then you use your ear to find out which tone sounds best. Another thing to mention at the very tail end is the song, when it was recorded on a synth bass, it's got a staccato feel, which means short notes. From playing in cover bands over the years, I kind of rock it out and do a little bit more of a legato note. So practice it both ways. Short notes, which allows your fingers to bounce. Again, avoid flyaway fingers. And then try with legato notes, long notes. And find which groove works best for you. Again, if you're playing along with the original version of the song, staccato notes are where it's at. All right, I hope you found that fun, helpful, useful. If you got any questions or comments, leave them in whatever the comment section is below, above, to the side. Most importantly, have fun with it, and come and see me for some more tutorials.